Last time, we talked about one of the very first strategies in Overwatch, the Death Ball. A strategy where consistent healing and bulky tanks rolled over the opposition. Following the Beyblade meta, the game entered what is now known as the World of Tanks meta.
Bring me another!
The World of Tanks was then thrown into an age of darkness dubbed the Omnic Crisis in Season 4. Remember those Bastion buffs?
You're powered up. Get in there.
Dark times indeed. And then Season 5 came along, bringing with it one of the most iconic strategy in Overwatch history. Welcome to the second part of the Overwatch strategy series, where we will look at the dive. Let's turn the clock back to 2016 during DreamHack Winter Yanshokping. Team Misfits, with notable members such as Soon, Nevix, and Zebusai, pulled out a composition that was unorthodox during the age of the tanks. Winston, Genji, Tracer, Lucio, Zenyatta, and Widowmaker. No signs of a frontline, only a group of squishy heroes. This strategy on paper made absolutely no sense, as this comp, which is now known as Dive, would get countered by the Season Death Ball, where teams had ample time to practice this strategy. The one edge the Misfits composition had over the Death Ball was speed. Sure, the Death Ball had Lucio's speed boost to mitigate the slow march, but this new comp used speed as a weapon rather than a band-aid. Misfits' composition focused on speed and mobility, which they utilized to dismantle the Death Ball piece by piece, rendering it useless. The speed allowed Misfits to isolate any overextending enemy tanks and collapse on him instantly, turning the number advantage to their favor. With the same tactic, they could also quickly jump the backline of the enemy team before the front line could fall back to assist, cutting off the healing line, making the tanks vulnerable to damage from the speedy heroes. This new fast-paced style lit a fire in the Overwatch scene, as the Death Ball was no longer the dominant strategy to winning. With this new and unorthodox pick by the Misfits, they clinched the title of Champion of DreamHack Winter 2016. Oh boy, here we go again. Yanshokping. They earned themselves the inaugural title of Kings of Dive, as they were the first to adapt the style of the 3 DPS dive. Following this tournament, many teams adapted this dive style, and different variations were born, such as Rogue's Golden Dive, GC Busan's Royal Road Dive, to the Control Dive of Overwatch World Cup 2017, which became the well-known dive meta we all know and love in the Overwatch League. I personally hate dive. Dive is one part swift movement and one part target focus. These were the parts you needed to achieve the goal of quickly deleting a target off the map. As you might have guessed, there are many different variations of dive with different heroes favored depending on the meta. At its core, the dive comp consists of heroes with movement abilities such as Winston and D.Va as the tanks, and Zenyatta as the go-to support with pocket healing, and the all-powerful Discord debuff, which was downright broken during the early seasons of Overwatch. The second support pick went from Lucio to Mercy, as the meta progressed from a Lucio meta to a Mercy meta. The DPS choice was dependent on if the team wanted to completely dive or have one character dive while the other dealt free damage from afar. Hence the following comps were used throughout the seasons. Spreading out behind cover to secure different angles of approach is an important aspect of running a dive comp. The more options you have, the better chance you have of catching the enemy team long enough to secure the important pick, which could lead to the next stage of the teamfight phase. Conserving your movement abilities such as rocket jump, blink, swift strike by falling from high ground can be a lifesaver. Diving into the enemy backline with and without a movement ability for escape can be the difference between life and death. With Widowmaker and Zenyatta to a degree the only ranged heroes in the dive comp hero pool, majority of the fight is done in close range. With 2 to 3 different heroes diving you from maybe 3 different angles at the same time, even the skilled veterans have no means of survival, especially if the hero they are playing has no escape tools, such as Zenyatta. For the past year and a half or so, the dive comp has been the mainstream composition, even throughout the first 2.5 stages of the Overwatch League, as good Tracer, D.Va, and Winston players dominated matches with their coordinated plays. Add on to that the fear of resets to skills such as Swift Strike in the game, results in scenarios where multiple heroes gets deleted in a blink of an eye.
Solo already 2/3 of the way to capturing this one, and now it's going to be a nano blade time, but Libero going to go in here. He's found Mirror already. Looking down for Toby. Decides Zuma might be the optimal target there. A slash through, and this is nasty. Oh, Libero! It's 5 kills. 10 HP left. Nothing gets you going like a good nano blade. We haven't seen many lately, but Libero delivers.
Dive takes coordination. Just blindly diving into the enemy with your mobility heroes trying to find a pick won't get you very far. Target selection needs to be on point, as your initial burst of damage needs to kill the target. Spread the damage around and you'll end up giving the enemy support's ult meter, which is never a good thing. Due to the nature of the compositions, the dive comp does not have the strongest of ultimate fights. Unless you have a Genji in your composition, there isn't really an ultimate strong enough to wipe out a team as fast as the Dragon Blade. Pulse Bomb and Tactical Visor are great pickoff tools with their fast recharge rate. Primal Rage and Self-Destruct can be used as zoning and stalling, and Valkyrie and Transcendence to sustain the squishy dive comp to keep the teamfight going. But overall, these are not consistent team-wiping ultimates. But skilled teams do not have to worry about an ultimate fight, as they would pick off the enemy support line to force the enemy team to regroup and hopefully get their chance in initiating a teamfight. The reign of dive continues throughout the season with character-specific meta such as the dreaded Junkrat and Mercy meta, and then finally, the prayers to an anti-dive has risen in the form of an insta-stun. Brigitte single-handedly reduced the amount of Genji and Tracer being played in competitive with her close-range shield bash, which stuns any low HP heroes to be wiped out. In addition, Hanzo has been reworked to become a tank buster, which also adds new variety into the mix, resulting in teams not resorting to dive every single match. A strategy or composition never truly dies. They are only countered, but never counted out. Who knows what the future of Overwatch will bring with new heroes in the horizon, as they may be the key to bolstering the dive strategy even further beyond to become an unstoppable force. If I had to pick a hero that will change things up, I'm putting my money on Wrecking Ball to literally shake things up in Overwatch League Season 2.